Marcus's new assistant, Amber, had caused trouble again. Simply because a partner mentioned being afraid of snakes, she sent a king to them as desensitization training, resulting in the partner being bitten and almost dying. The company lost a multi-million-dollar project partnership because of this, and was forced to pay $2 million in medical bills. Following the board's advice, I fired her on the spot. Marcus not only didn't object, but even cooperated with me in handling the relevant procedures. A year later, at the celebration gala for Marcus becoming president, I saw the elegantly dressed Amber standing by his side again. Before I could react, Marcus threw a termination letter at me and announced on the spot that Amber would replace me. His eyes filled with hatred, and he gritted his teeth. "Grace, I've waited countless days and nights for this day. You love firing people, don't you? How does it feel to be publicly fired now?" Everyone expected me to make a scene, but instead of getting angry, I smiled, raised my hand, took off my ID badge, and walked out. He didn't know that his position as president was entirely due to my guarantee. Once I left, all his authority would be revoked, and his good days would be thoroughly over. She just took off her ID badge and accepted it? Didn't they say Vice Grace always stood her ground? Could she have been faking it all this time? Even if she doesn't accept it, what can she do? It's Marcus who fired her. Who would dare object? After all, a new leader always makes their presence felt. Just try to challenge him. My colleagues' discussions reached my ears. I glanced at my ID badge on the table and said nothing. I had gone to great lengths to help Marcus become president, only for the first thing he did after gaining power to be firing me to make way for his little assistant. Watching smile smugly, I couldn't help but clench my fists. Suddenly, amidst the skeptical whispers, a few indignant voices emerged. "Serves her right. President made a wise decision. Grace should have been kicked out of the company long ago. Why should she, as vice, arbitrarily fire employees, while president gets criticized and questioned for firing her? You're being too hypocritical. Besides, she's brought this upon herself. She fired so many people, she deserves a taste of being fired herself." I wasn't surprised by these words. Personnel changes had always been my responsibility, so it was inevitable to offend people. I glanced at the few people speaking, and I understood. I prided myself on being fair, dealing with issues, not individuals. Employees I fired had generally committed serious mistakes that directly harmed the company's interests. If there were no losses, I only demoted or cut their salaries. Like these few individuals, with effort in the future, they would naturally regain their original positions, or even get promoted and receive raises. At these words, the buzz of discussion in the room grew even louder. Marcus watched from the stage with cold eyes, showing no intention of stopping it. His face was full of disdain, even a hint of mockery, as if he was waiting for a good show. That familiar expression made me pause. Previously, he only showed that look to people he deeply despised. I never thought he would use it on me one day. My gaze darkened, and the chatter in my ears continued. Vice Grace didn't do anything wrong. Why should she be fired? Exactly, why should Amber replace Vice Grace? We still remember how she caused the company to lose a multi-million-dollar project a year ago. If she hadn't been so clever as to send that king, the company would have been thriving long ago. Would we have been blacklisted and pushed to the point of never working with them again? As the words fell, colleagues immediately pointed fingers at Amber. Some even vividly recounted the old story to those who didn't know. I raised an eyebrow, looking at the stage. If it hadn't been for Amber, my call Ague's efforts and bonuses wouldn't have gone down the drain. Marcus's face instantly darkened. Amber, hearing this, burst into tears, feeling incredibly wronged. "Marcus, I knew it would be like this. Even after all this time, everyone still won't forgive me. I don't want to make things difficult for you. I'd rather go back to picking up trash. Even though life is tough, I'm often bullied and always hungry. As long as I can survive and see you occasionally, I'll be content." After speaking, another tear rolled down her cheek. Marcus felt a pang in his heart, wishing he could tear me limb from limb. His gaze became even more resolute, and he declared firmly, "Enough. This matter was explained long ago. It was just an accident. Besides, Amber has admitted her mistake and paid the price. She's changed a lot this past year, and her abilities are outstanding. I believe she is capable of holding the vice position. I don't want to see anyone bothering her about this again. If I find out, they'll end up just like Grace." The entire room fell silent. Those present exchanged glances. Even those who had been questioning gradually quieted down. Seeing this, Marcus nodded in satisfaction, then turned to Amber and assured her, "Don't worry, I won't let you live that starving life again. Times have changed. I endured humiliation for hundreds of days and nights, all for this day. I will definitely get justice for you. And make everyone who slandered and framed you pay the price. The more he spoke, the colder his expression became, and he couldn't help but grit his teeth. Then he shot a cold glance at me. I met his gaze directly and felt a cold sweat break out on my back at the coldness in his eyes. Did he hate me that much? Just because I publicly fired Amber a year ago? But if I hadn't done that, he wouldn't have had the chance to stand here celebrating tonight. He would have been kicked out of the company long ago, just like Amber. Amber was his assistant, so he bore undeniable responsibility. The board's original decision wasn't just to fire Amber, but him too. It was I who vouched for him before the chairman, giving him a chance to redeem himself. Yet, even so, he not only showed no gratitude but sulked with me for 3 whole months. Later, when I promised to help him secure the executive position, his attitude towards me gradually returned to normal. But now, he had just taken office, his promotion letter hadn't even come down, and he was already eager to fire me. And he dared to vow to get justice for Amber. It was utterly ridiculous. Seeing my cold smile, Marcus frowned and walked down. Grace, if it weren't for you, Amber wouldn't have been fired and wouldn't have suffered all that undeserved misfortune. You still owe her a public apology. I ignored him, picked up the termination letter from the floor, and turned to leave, but Marcus's security guards blocked my way. Amber followed closely, her face tear-streaked as she theatrically threatened to leave again. Marcus, look at her, she's so unwilling. She clearly doesn't want to apologize to me. I just started at the company and this happened. No one will listen to me in the future. Not only will I be unable to help you, but I'll probably just be a burden. Rather than watching something like this happen and causing you trouble, I'd rather just leave now. As she spoke, she moved 2 steps closer to Marcus, with no real intention of leaving. Her reddened eyes fell perfectly into Marcus's line of sight. Instead, he, fearing Amber might leave, grabbed her wrist to comfort her. I told you I'd get you justice. Don't you trust me? Amber didn't answer, just kept her head down, avoiding his gaze. Marcus quickly offered a few more words of comfort, only stopping when he saw Amber's lips curve slightly. The sight of their interaction stung my eyes. In the 6 years I'd been with Marcus, I had never seen such a quiet, affectionate side of him. Not even during the passionate phase of our relationship did he show such emotions to me. Let alone on normal days, even kind words in everyday interactions became a luxury. For years, our relationship was mostly arguments and cold wars, along with his habit of cutting off contact and staying out all night whenever things didn't go his way. It was to the point that if he showed even the slightest hint of tenderness, I'd mistake it for a change of heart. To hold on to that sliver of gentleness, I'd throw myself into whatever he asked, even if he casually remarked, "Then just get me the president's position." But what was the result? He calmly took the fruits of my hard work, then turned around, kicked me out, and even let someone else take my place. In his heart, perhaps there was no place for me long ago. Only I, foolishly, believed that if I just tried hard enough, he would eventually see me. Thinking about it, I really was incredibly stupid. Marcus's cold tone pulled my thoughts back. Grace, don't play dumb with me. Apologize to Amber right now. If you don't apologize, you won't leave this door today. As soon as he finished speaking, the security guards around me surrounded me, each holding a baton. It seemed he was absolutely determined to make me apologize today. Amber looked on expectantly, a hint of triumph in her eyes. Seeing his determined expression to get justice for Amber, my chest tightened, and I found it hard to breathe. He had once defended me in front of everyone like this. He had gotten me justice, and it was then that I fell in love with him at first sight. But who would have thought that one day, he would seek justice for someone else, at my expense? What's more, it wasn't my fault at all, and I hadn't wronged anyone. The justice he sought was destined not to be what he intended. Seeing my silence, his brow furrowed again. Amber handed him a glass of wine and whispered something in his ear. His sullen face immediately softened a little. Then, he looked at me coldly. Grace, this is what you owe Amber. I'm doing this for your own good. You should take responsibility for your mistakes. Isn't that what you constantly tell your subordinates? How come it doesn't apply to you? After he spoke, a chorus of agreement immediately rang out. President is right, Vice Grace, you should apologize. Why make such a big deal out of a small matter? Maybe if you apologize, you won't have to leave the company. I gave them a cold look and said nothing. These people were all opportunistic sycophants. Seeing me out of favor, they were eager to step in and curry favor with the newly appointed Marcus. Seeing that I still hadn't moved, Marcus's patience ran out. His expression grew more and more agitated, and he said impatiently, since you refuse to apologize, then kneel before Amber. As long as you kneel, this matter will be over, and I won't bother you about it again. I looked at him coldly and refused. You want me to kneel and apologize to her? Dream on. This matter was settled a year ago. Are you bringing it up again because you have some ulterior motive? I saw him for who he truly was the moment he publicly announced my termination. Now, his entire focus was on Amber. I wasn't even in his thoughts. Why should I continue to deceive myself and exhaust myself revolving around him? Hearing this, Marcus backhanded and shattered the glass in his hand. He said coldly, Grace, I'm just asking you to apologize and admit a mistake. Do you have to escalate it like this and falsely accuse me? Besides, I'm doing this for your own good. With so many colleagues watching, do you want to be humiliated and criticized later? Apologize quickly, or else he deliberately paused before continuing, it's your choice what to do. I had heard these words countless times from him. Whenever I resisted or didn't comply, he would threaten me with a breakup. Before, I cherished our 6-year relationship. I wouldn't even let him finish the 2 words breakup for I immediately and repeatedly agreed. He mistook these words as my weakness, using them to manipulate me. After I agreed, he would then give me a look of pity and condescension, warning me not to do it again. This tactic always worked on me. But this time I didn't want to compromise anymore. I looked him in the eye and said, word for word, fine, then let's break up. After I spoke, an inexplicable sense of relief washed over me. Marcus's expression, however, stiffened. The words not again instantly got stuck in his throat. He looked at me with surprise, clearly not expecting me to defy him publicly. After all, I usually complied with his every word. Seeing this, Amber's unshed tears immediately welled up again. Believing would spare me and no longer help her, her voice instantly choked up, and she feigned resignation. Marcus, I'm sorry. If I hadn't insisted on an apology, she wouldn't have broken up with you. If our argument and breakup are because of me, then I don't want this justice. I just want you to be okay, Marcus. Marcus listened to Amber's words, recalling the image of her picking up trash alone earlier, and immediately felt a pang in his heart. With a sullen face, he said coldly, fine, then let's break up. Don't you dare regret it. Hearing this, Amber's tearful misery vanished instantly, replaced by a triumphant look. She even pretended to be understanding, asking worriedly, Marcus, is this really okay? I don't want to cause you trouble. Marcus didn't even think. He unfastened his watch and casually tossed it on the floor, his face devoid of emotion. There's no trouble. I've wanted to break up for a long time. As for you, don't always consider me first. You should think more about yourself. Watching the watch being discarded like trash, I said nothing, picked it up, and turned to leave. It was the first gift I ever gave him. At the time, I had just joined the company and was penniless. The watch wasn't expensive, but it represented a month of my salary. Seeing his face light up with joy when he received the watch, I thought then that my month of struggling to make ends meet had been worth it. He joyfully put it on and promised me, this is the most precious gift I've ever received. I'm going to wear it my whole life, never taking it off until I die. I also thought we would grow old together, but look how it turned out. He was eager to cast off this watch like trash. I couldn't help but sneer, leaving that absurd celebration gala without looking back. The next second, the chairman, having heard the news of my resignation, walked in with a dark expression. Marcus quickly went to greet him, but before he could speak, the chairman beat him to it. I heard you fired Grace? Marcus paused, then nodded. Chairman, Grace used her position to arbitrarily fire employees at the company. I was thinking of employee unity. Such a pest doesn't deserve to stay at the company. Don't worry, she's already taken the termination letter, and the other procedures have been completed. He thought the chairman was there to congratulate him on his promotion, believing that firing me would leave a good impression. To his surprise, as soon as he finished speaking, the chairman's face darkened even further. He was momentarily bewildered. They didn't respond but looked around. Not seeing me, and confirming I had left, he frowned deeply. The surrounding colleagues, seeing this, whispered amongst themselves, "That doesn't seem happy with President's decision. You're overthinking it." If the chairman questioned President, why would he let him take on the President position? Besides, the chairman personally attending President's celebration gala shows how important President is. Maybe he's here to hand over the transfer letter. Hearing this, the anxiety Marcus had been feeling immediately eased. He was about to say a few words of gratitude for the mentorship to lighten the slightly awkward atmosphere. But the next second, the chairman glanced at Marcus. He scrutinized him for several seconds, his brow furrowed then quickly relaxing. Finally, he sighed helplessly, and with a determined expression, solemnly announced, effective immediately, Marcus's position as executive of the branch is revoked, and he is terminated. As soon as the words fell, the entire room instantly fell silent. Marcus froze on the spot, his smile fixed on his face. He only reacted when Amber pinched his arm. With a pale face, he asked, "Chairman, what does this mean? Why are you revoking my position for no reason?" He had worked hard for a year, putting all his effort into securing several major projects to earn this position. Why should he be stripped of it before he even settled in? He refused to accept it. The challenging words were on the tip of his tongue, but he immediately thought of me, assuming I had reported him to the chairman. Thinking this, he instantly felt a sense of relief. To avoid saying the wrong thing, he suppressed his doubts, trying to deduce the reason for his termination from hints. He tentatively asked, "Did say something to you?" Please don't believe her slander. Since joining the company, I have always been diligent and have never done anything to betray the company. I've even secured several major projects for the company, helping it take a significant step forward. I believe I have contributed to the company, so the company has no reason to dismiss me from my position, nor any reason to fire me. As he spoke, he became even more convinced of his contributions to the company. His year of hard work shouldn't have resulted in this outcome. But listened to his words, saw the stubbornness in his eyes, and sighed deeply. Do you think I wanted this outcome? You only have yourself to blame. You personally fired Grace. Then he called over his assistant, took a file from their hand, opened it, and handed it to Marcus. After you read this file, many of your questions will naturally be in. Sword. Marcus tremblingly took it. After reading it, his face turned even paler. He was utterly disbelieving, murmuring to himself, "Impossible. How could my position be secured by Grace's guarantee? Her business capabilities are so poor, how could she have such influence? You must have been fooled by her. I'm the one with real talent and ability. You must have made a mistake, it must be." Amber, standing nearby, was about to speak but immediately closed her mouth and even took 2 steps back when she saw the chairman's serious expression. Marcus was still immersed in the document, unable to pull himself away, completely oblivious to Amber's small movements. Seeing him still so misguided, the chairman glanced at his assistant. Receiving the signal, the assistant took out the original disciplinary document from his briefcase concerning Amber's incident a year ago and thrust it in front of Marcus. This is the full disciplinary decision from the board a year ago regarding Amber's incident. If the penalties listed here had been fully enforced, you would have been fired long ago, let alone be standing here celebrating today. Everything you have today is thanks to Grace. If she hadn't supported you from behind, you wouldn't be where you are. Marcus stared wide-eyed at the disciplinary document, his face full of disbelief. Impossible, this is fake. Before I became president, I was also an executive. Why have I never heard of this disciplinary document? Did you conspire with Grace to deceive me, or are you all in this together, scheming to take me down because you're unhappy with my power? I refuse to accept this. I demand a board meeting. He himself was suspected of inadequate supervision, so he naturally had to recuse himself from this matter. Furthermore, after I learned of the incident, I preemptively proposed a solution to appease the chairman, turning the tide and holding back this original disciplinary document. The documents issued later were edited, so he naturally had no way of knowing the original disciplinary content. If it weren't for me, his president dream would have ended there. Seeing him still stubbornly misguided, the chairman shook his head. Believe it or not, your dismissal is a done deal. When heard those words again, his heart was no longer filled with doubt, but rather with tears welling up in his eyes. Seeing this, Amber wanted to comfort Marcus, but hesitated, not daring to speak with the chairman present. She hid behind Marcus, secretly praying not to be implicated. Moments later, Marcus's fingers, clutching the document, had turned white. With reddened eyes, he asked, "Even if the president position was secured by Grace's guarantee, why am I being fired?" Hearing this, the chairman immediately wondered if his ears were failing him, or if Marcus was truly this foolish. He glanced at Amber behind Marcus and said coldly, "Bringing back someone who once caused the company huge financial losses, and giving her such a high position, the company doesn't need such an incompetent leader." Marcus was instantly speechless, unable to utter the explanations he wanted to give. He had merely wanted to vent Amber's anger and get her some justice. How had things escalated to this point? At that moment, the chairman received a phone call and hurried out. The once lively banquet hall was now eerily silent. Everyone present kept their heads down, remaining quiet. only stood still, his face grim, tightly clutching the disciplinary document. Amber called his name several times in his ear, but he didn't react at all. After a while, discussions instantly erupted all around. I can't believe President's position came about this way. We actually thought he achieved it through his own efforts and were planning to look up to him as a role model. What a waste. Vice Grace did so much for him, even guaranteeing his president position with her own career, yet he turned around and fired her, then sought revenge for her enemy, demanding Vice Grace kneel and apologize. He truly is the most ungrateful person. Now that this has come out, what company would ever hire him again? His career is completely ruined today. Seeing the chairman and his entourage leave, Amber eagerly tried to defend him. What are you all talking about? Marcus isn't like that. He's very capable, and besides, this isn't his fault at all. It's all Grace's fault. I clearly apologized back then, but she kept hounding me and even lied to the chairman about firing me, causing me to lose all my job prospects and resort to picking up trash. Marcus was just trying to get me justice. What's wrong with that? Amber expected her words to garner sympathy from her colleagues, hoping they would plead with the chairman for her. Instead, no one bought her story, she was only criticized more severely. If you hadn't been so clever back then, insisting on sending a snake to the partner, things wouldn't have come to this point. This is all your own doing, and you have the nerve to blame Vice Grace now? Exactly. President is clueless too. Vice Grace is such a good person, yet he broke up with her for someone like Amber. He's clearly blind and can't tell right from wrong. This decision is correct. If he had truly become the company's leader, who knows what a mess he would have made of it? Would company even have a future, let alone progress under him? The more these people spoke, the more animated they became, as if they wanted to beat Marcus and Amber up. Just then, HR arrived, late, with Marcus's termination notice. The moment Marcus saw the bright red stamp on the notice, he completely panicked. It wasn't a dream. This was real, he really was fired. His colleagues' whispers grew louder in his ears. Unable to bear their pointing fingers any longer, he fled in disarray. A short while after leaving, Marcus received an email from the chairman. He couldn't help but clutch his phone, excitedly grabbing Amber beside him and exclaiming, I knew it. I've made such significant contributions to the company. The chairman wouldn't just dismiss and fire me so easily. He must have regretted it and wants to win me back. How could a useless person like Grace compare to my standing in the chairman's eyes? She's not even worthy. Hearing this, Amber also beamed, believing that fate was finally smiling upon her. A smile instantly spread across her face. Aside from being good with words, she's inferior to you in every other aspect. They must have realized Grace's true nature and decided to cut his losses, so as not to truly lose a talent like you, Marcus. No sooner had she spoken than Marcus's smile vanished after reading the email. Without waiting for Amber's questions, he turned and slapped her. He then thrust the email in her face, demanding coldly, Don't you think you owe me an explanation? After seeing the email's contents, Amber immediately understood the source of her unease today. The email clearly revealed her activities over the past year. Her fate after leaving the company was not as dire as she had claimed. No one would waste resources to blacklist an incompetent person like her. She was simply fired. It was she who couldn't swallow her pride and continuously sought opportunities for revenge. She set her sights on Marcus, working tirelessly to engineer various chance encounters and accidents, step by step creating the illusion that she had fallen on hard times after leaving the company. Her aim was to instill in him the belief that her predicament was all my fault. Even her sweating and picking up trash in over 40-degree weather was just part of her plan, deliberately staged for Marcus to witness, thereby stimulating his sympathy. Unfortunately, her meticulously planned scheme was full of holes and couldn't withstand scrutiny. A quick check revealed the truth to everyone. Her face turned pale. She hadn't expected Marcus to find out so quickly. Seeing that her deception was expo said, she immediately knelt before Marcus, pleading for forgiveness. Marcus, I didn't mean to deceive you. I was forced to. This is all Grace's doing. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't have ended up like this. Didn't you say you'd get me justice? The essence of the matter hasn't changed. I merely embellished a few things. Are you really going to turn your back on me for this? As she spoke, tears once again rolled down her cheeks. This was Amber's usual trick with Marcus, but this time, it seemed to be ineffective. He stood coldly, unmoving, letting Amber argue by herself. She waited for a long time, talking herself hoarse, but Marcus's forgiveness never came. In the past, he would have immediately granted her request, even comforting her, before her tears even fell. Marcus ignored her explanations. After putting his phone away, he said coldly, "Get out. Don't let me see you again, or I won't go easy on you." Amber looked at him, full of disbelief. She couldn't believe he could be so heartless. She was about to explain, but he cut her off. "Oh, and return all the things I gave you, at double the original price." Her brief moment of joy was instantly shattered. Hearing's words, her face paled further. Those items had long been squandered and replaced with fakes. Now she had no money, let alone double the compensation. After speaking, Marcus turned and left without looking back, completely disregarding Amber, who was collapsing behind him. He picked up his phone and dialed a number. The phone rang again and again, but the other party didn't answer. Watching his phone screen turn off once more, he decisively hung up. Then he bought a bouquet of white roses from a local florist. He took 2 photos and sent them, but the page showed 2 red exclamation marks, followed by a pop-up message saying, "You are not friends with this person. Please send a verification request to chat." Seeing this, a surge of inexplicable anger rose within him. He clutched the flowers tie and rushed home. By the time he arrived, I was about to leave. He ran over, looking disheveled, the flowers in his hand slightly wilted, and gasped, "Grace, I called you, why didn't you answer? And, you actually dared to block me? Do you have a death wish?" Hearing that familiar tone, my mind drifted back to the past. When we first got together, he was a bit childish, just like now. He had to ask why about everything, and even if it was his fault, he would still pin it on me, making me humble myself and apologize to him. I used to always give in to him, not bothering to argue about many things. Over time, he transformed completely, becoming distant, his words constantly laced with hostility. We'd start arguing after barely 3 sentences. At first, I thought it was due to work stress, causing such a shift in his mood. I planned to work harder behind the scenes to ease his burden. It wasn't until I saw him having dinner with Amber that I realized the root of it all was a lack of love. Yet, even then, I never considered giving up on our 6-year relationship. It hadn't been an easy journey. We both had invested a lot of energy into this relationship. At the time, I still firmly believed he was just infatuated for a while, and in a few days, he would realize who was truly worthy of spending his life with. After all, we had promised to grow old together. I stared at the flowers in his arms for a long time. Perhaps this relationship should have ended much earlier. Seeing my silence, his temper flared even more. I abruptly reminded him, "Marcus, by what right do you question me? Don't forget, we've already broken up." All the accusatory words he wanted to say rushed to his throat, but hearing my statement, he swallowed them back with difficulty. He opened his mouth, then stiffly uttered, "Those were just angry words." Yes, just angry words, they don't count. This thought gradually consumed his mind. He firmly believed we hadn't broken up. Unfortunately, I took it seriously. I looked him in the eyes, seeing the guilt there, and said coldly, "Just angry words?" He nodded stiffly. I sneered, "But I don't think they were angry words, Marcus. We've already broken up." Hearing this, he paused, then struggled to explain, "You wouldn't break up with me. You must also be speaking in anger." I said those things because I was tricked by Amber. Besides, I've already cut ties with her and will never interact with her again. Can you forgive me and not dwell on such a small matter? A small matter? He used our years of relationship to threaten me into apologizing to Amber, and he calls that a small matter? I couldn't help but sneer. "Marcus, do you think I don't know what you're up to? You're willing to humble yourself and apologize to me. Aren't you just hoping I'll plead with the chairman for you and get you back into the company?" His intentions were clear to me the moment he opened his mouth. He wasn't genuinely trying to apologize to me. It was all a smokescreen, still for his own benefit. Marcus looked embarrassed at being exposed, but he still stubbornly argued, "Grace, I didn't mean that. I just want to clarify that these are all misunderstandings. I never thought of asking you to help me get back into the company. I also can't bear to let go of our 6 years together. I just want one chance. Is there anything wrong with that?" As he spoke, he, who was usually so stubborn, actually teared up. Seeing no reaction from me, he continued, "Didn't we promise to grow old together? Have you already forgotten? And here I thought I bought your favorite flowers to give to you. Now it seems I was just being presumptuous." With that, he shoved the flowers into my arms. I looked down at the increasingly wilted bouquet and instantly found him utterly ridiculous. He was the one who liked white roses, never me. All these years, he had never once gotten the flowers right. How could he claim to be sincerely remorseful when he couldn't even remember something as basic as that? Thinking this, I casually handed the flowers back to him. You should keep these flowers. I don't need them. And besides, I've always detested white roses. With that, I picked up my suitcase and walked out. Seeing that I was actually leaving, he panicked. He grabbed my sleeve with one hand, his voice choked. Grace, I have nothing left now. I only have you. Why are you leaving me too? I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have wrongly accused you because of Amber. But I've already apologized. Why won't you forgive me? I looked at him with a cold gaze. In the past, I probably would have agreed. But I'm not the person I used to be. 9. Seeing how persistent he was, insisting on a reason, I told him coldly, the moment you unhesitatingly threw away the watch, our relationship was already over. You've been able to stay stable at the company for so many years, all because I put in efforts many times greater than yours behind the scenes, allowing you to be promoted step by step. All those multi-million-dollar projects you could present with pride, which one didn't have my involvement? Which one didn't pass through my hands? Did you really think that just by meeting a partner once and having a casual chat, they would immediately be impressed by your capabilities and sign a contract with you? Without me, would you dare guarantee you could secure those multi-million-dollar projects? Relying solely on your own efforts, could you handle all these partners by yourself? Stop dreaming. Your achievements today were all planned and brought about by me behind the scenes. They were earned by me drinking until my stomach bled. If it weren't for me, you'd be nothing. Before I could finish, Marcus vehemently shook his head in denial. Impossible. All of this was achieved through my own hard work. I didn't rely on anyone. You're lying. After saying that, he threw the bouquet to the ground with a forceful backhand, scattering petals Eve. Ryware. He refused to believe that his business acumen, which he had always been so proud of, had actually been maintained by me. He had always thought it was my subjective judgment that insisted on firing Amber. Because of this, he had always resented me for being unfair. He even endured for a year, just to publicly fire me at his promotion celebration. But he never imagined that the position he had fought for a year to achieve was actually due to my support behind the scenes. Those multi-million-dollar projects he signed after just one meeting, he still thought were due to his exceptional ability and skilled negotiation. He even used those opportunities to mock me, claiming I lacked ability, and planned to request the chairman to demote me. At this realization, his emotions instantly crumbled. After a long silence, he lit a cigarette, staring at the flickering flame, and said hoarsely, Grace, if I could find the watch, would you forgive me and give me another chance? I have nothing left. I really only have you, but he would never find that watch. Our 6-year relationship ends now. I refused coldly again. Marcus, it's impossible. There won't be a future for us. Hearing this, Marcus was speechless. His mouth hung open for a long time, unable to utter a single word. I raised my hand and checked the time. My flight would soon be missed. I said coldly, this is where we end. Don't contact me again. Oh, by the way, I've already sold the house. Having said that, I pulled my suitcase and left directly, ignoring Marcus behind me. Later, I found a good job abroad, enjoying peace and freedom every day. My friends, who had heard about our breakup, all started sending messages to ask about it. Some even shared updates on Marcus's life. He quickly moved on from the relationship and then turned around and started a new one. My friends asked how I felt. I replied, all I want now is my sixpence, nothing else. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it with your friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.